Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Dev, where today we're starting on a project inspired by the bomb throwing mechanic recently added to the Binding of Isaac. Indeed, I was very tickled by the experience and realized I'd never done something quite like it before, so we're doing it. And the plan will be to make a game based around the idea of throwing bombs at various types of enemies and possibly bosses, but with the twist of the bombs being provided through a third-party bomb deploying system. And we'll start this journey by working on the basics, including said bomb deploying system, basic player controls, and an enemy to toss the bombs at. And maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way. Sounds like a plan, so let's get to the coding. First up was the creation of our bomb, and would be built on a state system and timer. The default state would be the thrown state. The second state would be gravity kicking in, which is something that seems to happen in the Binding of Isaac's version of the bomb throw. The third state is the warning state, and the final state is the explosion/destroy event. Then in the player control, I created another loop similar to the movement, only this time to throw bombs. And immediately, I realized I was overthinking things. The bombs are spawning, but not moving because the timer was only acting on a single frame. So back in the bomb, the movement code was placed outside of the single frame event, and the switch itself was relegated to simply keeping track of timer triggers. This fixed the bombs not moving, however now the gravity refused to kick in. So to quote-unquote force gravity to kick in, a gravity variable was added and some math to pull the bomb in a particular direction. And this worked, however, gravity was now kicking in almost instantaneously. And after poking around, I realized the switch did not account for the initial state of the bomb pre-sequence. So the bomb was set to spawn already in the thrown state, which fixed the issue, but honestly I'm not sure how or why the sequence behaved in the way it did prior. Regardless, the bomb throwing worked, but once again there was another issue. Ideally, gravity should have affected the bomb the same regardless of the direction thrown. However, no matter what offsets I made, one side would always come up short. And almost 30 minutes of frustration later, I decided to give up on the gravity for now. So collision was added to the bomb and a bounce added to the collision with walls. I then tried adding variable speeds. Nope, never mind, none of that worked like I thought it would and was just a waste of time. So yeah, wall collisions and wall bouncing was added to the bomb. The flash effect was then added for the flash state of the bomb, and whoa, we now had a working throwable bomb. So with that working back in the player code, a has bomb variable was added. Then in the bomb deployment object, which I called the provider, a few variables were added. In the step event, a sequence of sorts was created. If a bomb does not exist, the provider would count down to creating one. The by variable would be used to control the visual aspect of the bomb. Once said bomb has been deployed, the bomb boolean is updated to true and awaits the player to pick it up. Then based on a simple place meeting check, if the player is within range, the bomb boolean is set to false, the player's has bomb variable is set to true, and the sequence is reset to wait for the bomb to be destroyed. I then use that variable to draw a bomb sprite in the provider object instead of creating a bomb object. Why'd I do this? Well, I'll get to that in a bit. But for all intents and purposes, the system worked. It was a convoluted way to get to this point, indeed, but it allowed our player to obtain bombs and throw them. So now we could add something to be on the receiving end of those bomb throws. But first I added a quick temporary explosion effect to the bomb in the form of a growing white circle. Nice. Now on to the enemy. The enemy was nothing special. Basic pathfinding was used to move towards the player. Okay, never mind. Basic directional check was used to make the enemy move towards the player. Then back in the bomb code, during the explosion state, a collision check was made using the collision circle function. This would ensure the literal explosion radius would determine the bomb's effectiveness, which for the first time this entire session worked without issue on the first try. And with that came the end of the session. And what a session it was. Now, full transparency, I recorded this while also dealing with major internet issues, which in turn seemed to upset GameMaker's IDE at random. And I've also been working on some pretty crazy complicated stuff lately behind the scenes, so I wanted to decompress with a project that seemed pretty straightforward. However, nothing worked like I'd hoped. Plus, overthinking a few of the approaches, like not spawning actual bombs with the provider, made this a tough session to finish. Not to mention a lot of just bad decisions were made in general. I'd planned to simply redo the whole thing from scratch, but instead, I wanted to share this mess of failures as a reminder that sometimes things just don't go as planned, which is totally okay. I'm not gonna give up, and in fact, I'm going to come back to this one and try again. But we'll have to wait until next time because I need a break. So with that said, remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already, and leave your thoughts on our chaotic start to this project in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.